Good evening, game changers. This is episode 36. It's totally different this night after Mindy and I met in person in Chicago.
Yep.
So I have to share a couple stuff that I did in Chicago. I visited three amazing places, Arabic places, and I want to just share a couple things that they happened to me. Nazareth Suites, I met Mr. Khalil, and Al Badia Tandoori, where I met Mr. Haytham. They were really very generous people. If you are in Chicago, you should really go and visit these places. They really took care of Doug and I really well. And there's a place called Buza, and Buza means ice cream in my country. And this place, you can find ice cream, you can find, really great drinks and stuff like that. And there's a beautiful girl named Leanne. She did make this mouth-watering drink for us. You must try it. So if you're in Chicago, you have to do that. Tonight, I must extend my heartfelt gratitude to my amazing co host and sister, Wendi. Our path finally crossed at the splendid celebration of Bethany's 50th birthday. It was a true privilege for Doug and me to be part of such a joyous occasion. In life, we often form impressions from a distance, but embracing you in person was a truly special moment. It became clear to me then that our bond goes beyond basic words. It is an everlasting connection. Thank you for being not just a co host and a friend, but also a cherished sister for life. Your presence in my life is deeply treasured. I appreciate you and love you. Thank you,
I
Wendy.
love you too. Love you too.
We are We're delighted and honored to welcome Cooterdoodle, aka Amanda, as our guest. We extend our gratitude to all of you for once again turning in and being part of the conversation. I'm so sorry. I'm just breaking up. I just want to
Okay.
cry.
It's
I just,
okay. I'm going to probably cry too.
Y'all are so sweet. This is awesome. But this is like what I feel like the whole Twitter community should be is like you meet
yes,
these people in real life and
Yep.
they're humans and it's real, you know?
Yep.
it
No,
is
that's
real.
great.
It is real. We express deep appreciation for the backing of Evan, Iggy, and JC, and the whole TSA team who have provided us with this platform to interact with remarkable individuals in our community. Join us as we delve into the lives and narratives of our guests, getting to know their innermost secrets, what secrets they have, experience in fantasy football, and much, much more. The Game Changers is not your ordinary show. It has transformed us into a beloved community, and we are thrilled to share this journey with all our viewers. Wendy, how are you tonight?
Well, how am I supposed to follow up that? Okay. That's asking a lot. First of all, I always forget this, so I'm going to say it first. You guys were taking a vacation. We love you. We love everyone in the community. We're so thankful for all of the people that come and watch our show, but good God, do we need a vacation? So, Carla's been working hard all year with the kids at school. And, so I'm like, you know what? Summer vacation. So we are going to take some time off from June 19th to July 10th. We'll be coming back on July 17th, which is actually going to work out really well because a lot of people will have done their Scott Fishbowl drafts. We can kind of talk about that a little bit. So please come back. Please come back. Don't leave us. We know that we are coming back. But the one thing I do want to say before we introduce our lovely guest, the past 2 weeks have been a whirlwind with meeting my Twitter friends here. Okay, like my friends in real life aren't like me. Okay, they are not like me. You guys are all like me. For the most part. Most of you are smarter than me, but in the past 2 weeks, I just run down this real quick because it's so important to me that these people not only took the time out of their day to come and meet me wherever I was at, or I went to them, whatever the case may be. But I've got Cindy Q in Carlsbad, her man. Let me tell you, awesome day, along with Anthony Juris, who is a member of TSA. He came to the track that day. Angie Hatfield, we only got to have coffee briefly, but it was the best Starbucks I've ever had because I got to spend it with her. Got to meet Doug Orth. Like, hello, Doug Orth. Like, he's like super popular. Everybody knows who Doug Orth is. And you know what? He's just as nice in person as you would think. Bethany Peters, we got to crash her birthday party. I mean, how great is that?
I'm jealous about that.
It was great. Oh, you know what? It was at this little Irish pub on a corner in Chicago in this beautiful West Town neighborhood. It was great. Erica Brown came in town and I met her, America 108, with her lovely wife, Monica. Not only did we get to have dinner and hang out the whole night, 2 days later, we got to have breakfast. I brought my husband with me, so they were able to, all meet. So it's how the community, but last, but certainly not least, is my sister Carla. When this all first started, who'd have thunk? Would you say week 36? Are you kidding me? Most podcasts last 4 episodes, I think I had written or seen. The thing is, it's not about the podcast for me, which I totally enjoy. I love it. I love having the guests on here, getting to know everyone in the community that I interact with that has helped me or I've helped them, whatever the case may be, a shoulder to cry on, doesn't matter. The podcast is not what this is about. The podcast is about, I got to spend time actually sitting next to Carla. Okay, Doug was there too. He had to go, but it was one of the best nights. It flew by. It was way too fast. But, here's 2 women that had never done a podcast in their lives, never met in person ever. And we did it, and now we're sisters. So I thank you. I love everyone. And how about introducing this lovely lady for us, Carla?
Definitely. So Cooterdoodle, also known as Amanda, is a diverse personality in the fantasy football world. She is a staff writer for Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life, contributes articles to the Smack Zone for Trophy Smack. She hosts the podcast Petit Pods and runs the Fantasy Life social media accounts. She takes pride in trash talking her fantasy football opponents, and her witty banter and confident tweets have garnered attention. She's a mom to a 5-year-old daughter and has been married for 7 years. Cooterdoodle wears many hats, and one of them is that of a college professor. She recently received her PhD in speech pathology and now imparts her knowledge and expertise in that field. Balancing her roles as a mom, wife, fantasy football analyst, and professor, she brings her unique flair to everything she does. Quite the impressive multitasker, isn't she? How are you, Amanda? And welcome to our show.
You make it seem like I'm doing way more than I'm doing. that boosted me up right there. Doing great. I do have to say, earlier when you said you went to Chicago, I wanted to say this. When you said that in your language, busa means ice cream. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All I could think was in New Orleans, if I hear anybody say booze, they're just saying booze and they're just getting drunk.
We can say that
down here, busa is just, we're just drinking on bourbon. But I will never forget that word now because I have a connection to it. So,
see?
Well, as long as we're starting, before this show kicks off, I'm sorry, but you have caused I don't even know what to say you've caused with this chart thing. Can you please explain it to me? What is going on? And what is wrong with the New York Times? Do they not?
Right? So I'll say this. For those who have followed me, you've noticed probably that I hyperfixate and then I move on. And you can probably see right here, I'm hyperfixating right now.
Yes.
And so I'm just in this, that's the phase of my life right now where I just really, really think chart should be the word on Wordle on the New York Times Wordle game, and I guess starting a movement. I don't know if that's the proper term. It kind of fits with it, but like I just think it's a good word, and they should do it. And yeah, sign the petition. Start Chart.
If they put banal on there, because I watched your little video.
Yes.
Okay.
They put some words. They cannot say it's too dirty. They put it. And when you press submit, it goes through. So it's in their word dictionary, and that's all that I need for hope. I've given them a deadline to the end of the year because I just feel like threats might maybe put fire under them. And so yeah, start Chart.
Okay. I kind of wondered. I'm sorry. I had to know.
There's no rhyme or reason other than I just need things to root for. And right now there's no football, so I'm rooting for Start Chart. You know what I mean?
All right. I got you. Thank you.
So there's a story for Milk First. What's the story behind your signature hashtag?
I know. I keep seeing some hashtags down there.
Oh, we got some fans in the chat. Yes. So you know, the ones that said it, they know. They know. Yes. So
Milk First.
Gosh, this is another thing that was just a hyperfixation for a while. I could get on my soapbox. It's very important. What is Joey saying? It's very important for people to understand that cereal is a staple for children, right? When I was younger, we didn't get the cool cereals. We got the bag cereals that were on like the bottom floor. We didn't get the cool sugary stuff. And when you get the good cereal, you got to make it last in a good way. And I think you should go milk first so it doesn't get soggy. Go milk first, because then you have your milk bowl and you just bring the box with you and you sprinkle a little bit. I could go through the theory of it, but milk first.
That's your answer for it.
My kid does not go milk first, and it's a problem, but I think one day she'll conform, you know?
Does she get grounded when she does?
No, we just talk about it, and, you know, look, mommy thinks
work up to that. Well,
yeah.
She's still small, so
yeah, she's young. She's young. The fact that she can pour her own cereal that's really what we're focused on. That's great.
So your Twitter presence is both witty and thought-provoking. How do you strike that balance between fun banter and serious discussions?
Ooh, good question. I don't know that I have figured that out yet, honestly. Like, I don't know about you guys. Everybody, I feel like the whole world of Twitter to me is an enigma, because I didn't think I'd be doing this. First of all, I joined Twitter in 2020 whenever the world was shut down and I just needed a social life. And I kind of like Wendi said, she's like, all my friends in the real world are not like me. I identify with that entirely, because I was the person that was like right now saying, hey, y'all ready for fantasy? And they're like, we'll talk about it in August. You know what I mean? And so I found this little community on Twitter and felt safe there, and everybody agreed, and like we all are super into stuff. And so yeah, I don't know that I have navigated it. I guess my rule of thumb, and I've said this with like Linda and with Daddy's Home and people that I've genuinely formed friendships with on this internet world. I don't know what you call this, but I just do what makes me happy and kind of let that be my guiding light. And I'm sure you've kind of found that for yourselves too, like the things that you resonate with, right? The things that you find enjoyable, because why else are you doing this, right? Like you said, it's not just for a podcast. You're forming friendships and stuff. And so it's kind of that. And so I don't know, I just kind of navigate it as I go. Sometimes I feel very silly and goofy, and other times I have the little newsletter where I write stuff that's more heavy. And so I just kind of, I don't know, I just navigate it through that and just let that kind of drive it, I guess. But I don't know if that answers the question, but it's just kind of the idea of like, rather than tweeting for people, tweeting for yourself, I guess. Does that make sense? I don't know.
It makes sense. Yeah. I mean, you're giving your own opinion and something that you really, form your ideas with it and discuss. Yeah.
So, I mean, where did you go? Where did you go to school? Where did you go to college?
Yeah. Well, so I'm in Louisiana, and so I've pretty much been in Louisiana my whole life. I don't travel that much. And so even the people that I met in Canton a year ago, that was a big thing for me. I hate flying. Okay. I've kind of discussed that online a bit. I hate flying, but yeah, I'm home based. I say New Orleans, but kind of just around Louisiana pretty much. But I just say New Orleans because everyone knows New Orleans. So
did you go to school at what university?
At the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, so Raging Cajuns.
Okay. So when you were going to school, what did you think in your wildest dreams that you were going to be doing what you're doing now?
No, not at all.
I mean,
No.
Were you a football fan? Like, have you been a fan your whole life type thing?
Oh, no, actually, no. I distinctly remember like a shift in my life. My husband had started fantasy football like in the early 2010s or something like that. And I remember being very perplexed of like, why do you care about anything but Saints games? Like, why are we watching whatever team it was at the time that was bad? You know what I mean? Like, why are we watching the Panthers, whatever it is? And he's like, because I have players on the team. And I'm like, I don't get it. Doesn't make sense. The Saints is all that matters. You know what I mean? And then something happened where like he would show me his phone and we'd root for people. And then the next year or two, our friends started a league. So that's my home league. That is like my rock that is still going for that. It will be the only, if I ever leave leagues, I will never leave that one. Like that's the one till I die.
That's
and
awesome.
That is the one that it hooked me. I won it my first year that it started. And and like that is, I haven't won it since in there, and that's fine. That's fine. But I got that one, you know? And so it's just one of those things where I was just hooked. And so kind of like when I said I resonated with you, Wendi, of the whole, like my friends aren't, I was just, it's me and like two other people in that league that are just nonstop. We can talk about it all day long, and everyone else checks out and they'll check back in August, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was what hooked me, is just like actually seeing it and doing it. And so then I became more than a Saints fan, and I was just like an NFL fan of everybody, everything. I still haven't dipped my toes into college yet. I know we have LSU here and things like that, but I don't know if I have the bandwidth to really dive into college football, you know?
Well, and that's the thing too. I noticed that you said you are pretty much a redraft girl.
Love redraft, yes.
That's me too. You know what?
I've tried it all.
The Dynasty. Oh God.
It's fun, but I actually have the most respect for people who do Dynasty, because that is such a grind. And I've said this before, I'm very trigger shy on like trades. So for Dynasty, even, because I'm like, oh my God, what will this mean 2 years from now? You know, like I get so nervous. I'm much better pulling the trigger on a trade and a redraft, but Dynasty scares me. I'm still in a few, like some that I started around 2020, probably. I'm still in those, but it's
a few, like more than one.
Yeah. Oh my. 2020 was the year of everyone joining way too many leagues. We're all at home. There's nothing else to do. And so I've stayed in them, and I just, it's heavy. It's heavy stuff. And I don't think I'll ever win them. I got second place one time. But yeah, redraft is my bread and butter. My favorite is like a keeper league, because you get a little taste of it. You can have one or two players.
Fun. I did that once. Yes.
Yeah. I like a 2-keeper, 1-keeper league is just right in it, because you can still think for the future, but it's not like detrimental, you know?
And the IDP thing, you tried that?
I've tried it, and I'm still in one, I think 1 or 2 with that. And I don't know what I'm doing every time. And I know there's so many smart people out there, and I try to follow them and see it's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
But I respect it. I respect it so much.
Too.
Can you share any memorable moments or breakthrough in your fantasy football analysis journey?
Oh man. It kind of goes back to that feeling of just kind of doing what I enjoy. Like I feel like there's different niches, right? Like you have your people that grind the numbers, and you have your people that just have impeccable memories of like, they know the game, that play happened and this catch happened and this. And mine is more of like the narrative. I enjoy the narrative of things. And so that's where my Twitter world was at the time, of tweeting things like that. And I started petite pods, which I haven't done in a while, but it was like these little teeny tiny podcast where I was like, you know what, we're friends, we talk, let's do a podcast. And it was more, again, selfishly, like something I enjoyed, where I would send them questions, they'd give me answers, and then I would change the questions when I actually made the podcast to make it kind of funny. But that was kind of a turning point for me, because I was like, you really can just do whatever you want, like just have fun. And it's really about the community and the people that you're meeting on here. You know what I mean? Like it's not for me, at least. I'll speak for me, because some people have bigger aspirations and goals, and that's fine too. But for me, it's about like at the end of the day, if the app shuts down, I know that I have my core friends that I've met, you know, and that's my people. And so, yeah, I'm just really here to have fun. Yeah, Joey did ruin Petite Pods. You're right. It was all downhill.
You can't take him anywhere. You just can't take him anywhere. I swear.
I'll have to check the tape. Was he the last guest? Maybe. I'll have to check it.
What topics did you cover in Petite Pods?
Oh gosh. I asked Andy Holloway to rate Starburst flavors. It was all over the place. It was just, there's a little bit of football and then also just kind of, you know, lifestyle choices, which by the way, pink is best, red is second, and orange and yellow are just a whole nother bottom tier.
Nice.
Well, nice. I was looking, because, you know, believe it or not, I try and do my homework. I leave half my shit at my office. I didn't bring stuff home with me, but I did my homework. But what I did bring home was I was reading, I want to say it's Comfort Moods. Is that the name of the website?
That is, it's my little like side gig where I say side gig. It's just for fun, but like, I don't know. I found, and maybe I feel like most of us probably feel the same way. You guys like creating things and doing things, and like that's why you're doing this, right? And so I get this joy in like, I don't know how to even articulate it, but I found that when I sit down and kind of think through things, it makes me feel better about life, even if it's sad stuff or heavier stuff. And so I just made this little corner of the internet where whoever wants to read it, or if they don't, that's fine. But I just send out every 7 to 31 days is my motto. I try to do it at least once a month and just sit down with something, whatever it is, and just kind of flesh it out in whatever I'm feeling. And so, yeah, Comfort Moods is the podcast, not the podcast, the newsletter.
The one that I read was Fuck Sidewalks.
Yes.
It was so good. I literally almost had tears coming down my face because it was so relatable.
Yes.
And I loved everything that I read today, by the way. It was here, but here's what I printed because this really, and I'm going to try and do it quickly and hopefully I don't butcher your writing too badly. It says, this year I turned a few years older than 30. And with that time, I've begun to take notice of my body, how my hands resemble my mother's, how my hair is slowly but very surely changing colors. And my friends, my beautiful fucking friends, they have started to take notice of their bodies too, though they'll never say it with their words. I see very little forgiveness in how they take themselves in these days, like some sort of unspoken betrayal. But to me, it almost feels holy, the way our skin surrenders itself over time, not simply marks from aging, but a sort of permanence gained from living. It's nothing like wearing down. And I read that and I was like, oh my God, like the way that you write and in your funny stuff too. Okay. Like your writing is just amazing, but this is completely different level. I had no clue that you have so many layers.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, it's mainly for me. And like when I press send, I'm really bad at completing things. I have to admit that. Like with Petite Pods, I did it. It was fun. And then it fell off and I don't complete it anymore. But this is the one thing where I'm like, I don't set a deadline. I'll do it maybe once a month, maybe 3 times a month. I don't set a deadline. I just sit and it's like, it's cathartic. It is kind of like therapy in a way. And like just to sit and write something regardless of what it's about, whether it's, you know, aging, whatever. But it's the one thing where I'm trying to stick with that I maybe other things have fallen to the wayside. You know what I mean? And so it's the one place where I kind of, try to stay grounded.
I think what we talked about a little bit too was the other one that I read was The Anatomy of a Friend. Oh my God. The things that we're talking about right now, you know, like how your friends don't, you know, things change, you know, life just kind of, your friends change. And, you know, you ran into a mom at the wedding and it was just a great, and it just made me feel the same way. I have one friend that I've known since kindergarten that I still talk to. And
that's like a big deal. That's a big deal to keep a friend from kindergarten. That's a huge deal.
Yes. And we've known each other since before kindergarten. And I'm a little bit older than you guys are. We have our 40th class reunion coming up
That's
This
exciting,
summer.
though. That's
No,
exciting.
it's not exciting.
No?
I'm like,
you're right. It's
40.
not
Oh
exciting.
my God. I remember when, my parents were my age and I'm like, fuck, they're old, but now I'm just like, no, 57's not old. It's not old.
It's not.
But,
it's really not.
If you guys, and this one was just posted on May 23rd. So you just put this one on recently.
Yeah.
But, we were best friends or something like it once. And, it's like, oh my God, I read this. And literally, I'm at my desk at work and people are looking at me like, what the hell's wrong with her? And I'm just like, this was just so good, though. So thank you for that. And if nobody is aware of this, please, can you tell everybody what this, how to get to comfort moods?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. Google comfort moods. I think it's comfortmoods.beehive. I don't know.
Yeah, something with Beehive. I did see that. And then they just search cooterdoodle and you're going to come up?
.beehive, yeah.
Because I clicked your link in your bio on
Oh, yeah.
Twitter.
You can do that, too. There you go.
Yeah, so that's there, too.
I'm really bad at promoting things. Yes, there you go. It's in my bio.
That's what we're here for. We're here to help promote.
But yeah, it's been fun. It's good. It's interesting, too, because it's like, I think about it a lot, and like hearing your guys' story about meeting in Chicago and seeing Bethany and all that, it just resonates because I feel like as adults, it's so difficult to make new friends. Mm-hmm. And not even like from a, like, I don't have friends perspective. It's just, I feel like there's this phase you hit, or at least I hit in my 30s where I'm like, I'm comfortable. I don't want to do this because I've learned I don't like parades, or like, I'm speaking from like New Orleans lifestyle. I don't like crowds. I don't like parades. I don't need to do that. And so you kind of like don't become a recluse, but you just kind of sit in your zone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it's a little more difficult. And so to hear about even just you guys meeting in Chicago, that's so fun. And like Canton, I'm not going this year, but I want to go the year after.
What?
I went last year. I know I'm not going this year, but I went last year. It was so much fun. And I'm going to go 2025. And it's just like, I don't know. There's something about it that it's just fun to see these human beings that are on the internet that are real and they're the same person. Yes. You know what I mean? It's just something about it.
Together. The expo brings the community together. It's amazing. It's just amazing.
It really is. It's just something about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So how does being a mom influence your perspective on fantasy football and life in general?
Oh gosh, my kid roots for the Buccaneers all the time, and I'm a Saints fan. I'm a Saints fan, and it's like she knows. Like she'll literally ask us. She'll be like, "Who are y'all rooting for, Mom?" And I'll tell her the team, and she'll be like, "Oh, I'm rooting for the other one." And I'm just like, "Are we doing this now? Like you're too young for this." And so it is fun. It's fun because it gets her into it. But then there's this like part of me that I'm like, can you just not conform just for once? Like just at least root for the Saints. You know what I mean? She has rooted for the Bucks. And the worst part is like she's rewarded for it because they have kicked our butts so many times and they're winning Super Bowls more than us, like it's just. So yeah, that is the only thing I can say that has influenced me. Does she have a favorite Bucks player? No, she's not there yet. She's not on to like specific players yet. She's still learning like they have throwing players and catching players and running players. But yeah, it's frustrating.
That's more than a lot of us know, okay?
Yeah.
Would you want her to play fantasy football in the future?
Oh, I would love it. I would love it if she could like co-manage a team with me and care about it. Like I see Scott Fish and his son. I'm like, that's goals, man. I want that so bad. I want it so bad. Yeah. I don't want to force it, but if it happens naturally, that would be amazing. I would love it.
Yeah, it's kind of like with sports, Yeah, if you force them, they're not going to like it. So
exactly. But if she's going to root against me, at least she's watching the game, and I'm down for that. So.
I love that. Did you have, like, by any chance, any issues being a woman of fantasy football in the community?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I have to imagine, like, culturally, maybe, yes. But, like I said, in my friend group, I won the first year. And, like, we're not like that in our home league and anything. And I guess my corner of Twitter, everybody's very, accepting and open and recognizing of it. I'm sure there's definitely those pockets of Twitter that aren't, and I've seen it sometimes, but no, I feel like at least in 2024, people are pretty recognizable of you don't have to play the game to know the game,
Yep.
That's nice.
But not to belittle. I know there is that side of it where it does happen, but
I agree with you.
I'm hoping,
We've been hearing
hoping that it
a lot.
starts less and less,
yeah.
Um, so how did you get involved with Fantasy Life and Matthew Berry? Like, that's a pretty big name here.
It
So
is.
Matthew
Yes.
Berry. So how did that happen?
Yeah. It is honestly like a fever dream. Like, I was on Twitter, like I said, in 2020, just because COVID, I was stuck at home playing. I met Linda and them, got in a girls' league, and then just kind of was goofy on Twitter. Eventually asked him to be on Petite Pods, and it just kind of went from there. And then, so yeah, now the newsletter has blown up. I don't know if you don't follow it, make sure you subscribe to fantasylife.com.
I do.
It's our newsletter. Yep. It is fantastic. They have constantly just recruited more and more just brilliant human beings, good human beings too, like not just smart, but good people. I hope to meet them all one day. At this point, it's bound to happen, I hope. But yeah, it's a great, like, speaking of communities, it's just a great place to work.
Good.
You know what I mean? Just good people. Good people all around.
It seems like he's like assembling, a good team. And,
yes. Yep. All of them.
That's awesome. It's just so funny though, because I know Linda does that too. She writes for Matthew Berry, So.
Oh, I always DM Linda. I'm like, what kicker? What I need? Yeah. She's like my kicker goddess. I'm like, who do I need? Who should I draft?
I freaking love her so much. She's great. So, but yeah, she talked about, she loves working there, and it's just so it seems like there's a lot of opportunities, and for women too, So I'm glad that more women are taking that plunge. Just same way that Carla and I did. We'd never done anything like this, and our show's not about football. That's the least, that's the last thing our show's about. But I mean, it's going to come up, obviously. But it's about that community. So I'm really glad to see that. I mean, that, like, Matthew Berry, man. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm jealous. Okay, I got to start writing. And
he's a good human too. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's awesome. Like, that was my coolest part of it all. Is just like, even Peter Overzet. Like, I didn't know all these people at first. Like I said, I just kind of joined Twitter, but just good people, and it's just great to see that there's so many names that are, whether they are at these companies or not, just good people. You know what I mean? Like, you go to Canton, you just know you're going to be surrounded by fun and just good vibes. So
I'm shocked at the news that you're not going.
I know. We went to Disney this year, and I was like, I just don't know if I can justify another trip.
That's
you know what I mean? Yeah, it was my first time there, and it was an experience, guys. I don't know if y'all are Disney people, but it was a lot. It was a lot for me to take in as a first-time attendee.
You live that close, and that's the first time you've ever been?
Never been in my life. A week before we got there, I was like, so when are we going to Harry Potter World? And my husband's like, that's not at this one. That's not at this place. So yeah, it was a learning experience, learning curve for sure.
So trash talk is always acceptable, whether you're dead last or reigning supreme.
Yes.
So what's with the trash talk? I know it's an art of witty banter, the verbal jousting, and that spices up any competitive arena. Can you share a little bit about the trash talk?
If someone told me that you can no longer trash talk, I don't think I would do fantasy football anymore, because I really, truly don't care about winning. I do. I care about winning. But at the end of the day, I don't. It's about the camaraderie, and I feel like trash talk is the glue that just keeps teams going. Like, the guy that made a stupid mistake 5 years ago and we're bringing it up again. Yeah, we are. We're bringing it up again. And the person that loses 3 years in a row, we're bringing it up again. I don't care if you won. You lost 3 years ago and 3 times in a row. Like, it's just the best part of it. And my favorite, well, I won't say that. Well, maybe I should. So in that home league that I won the first year, I was like mediocre. And then the last 2 years, I have been bottom of the barrel. And there's a weird shift where, like, it's almost more fun to be the loser because all you can do is punch up. And so there's like, it's so safe to just trash talk anyone because you're just at the bottom. You know what I mean? It's almost like this new place that I've navigated in the last year or two where I'm like, oh, I can make fun of everyone because I'm the worst one here. You know what I mean? So it's fun to do it from the top, but it's almost more fun from like doing it from the bottom.
So I'm not sure. 49ers? What's about the 49ers and that Lombardi trophy that you were
Oh, the 49ers. God, there was a phase where I was, well, how did that start? There was a phase where I was into the 49ers because of Brock Purdy and they were winning well. And then I don't know how it transitioned into me wearing 49ers socks with my Crocs, but that became a thing.
We're eliminated at that
point.
point.
Yeah, that became a thing for a while. And then I said I would wear Crocs for like 49 days or something. I don't remember, but it didn't last. Like I said, I don't finish everything. I start things and I don't finish it. But I did wear them for a while. And I would take pictures at the gas station of me in my Crocs and socks. And yeah, I was doing it for a while, but I couldn't keep it up for 49 days straight.
That'd be tough.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It was a little too much.
So when you were kind of first starting out where you're like, hey, I'm going to write stuff. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be playing fantasy. I'm going to join all these leagues. Like, did you have any favorite analysts that you would follow? What male, female, it doesn't matter. Like who kind of got you into either listening to Sirius XM or following Twitter?
I was like my trifecta, and I've said this before, it was Matthew Berry, Joe Bryant, and the fantasy footballers. That was like my triangle of people. And I, to this day, like I've told Joe Bryant this before, like his newsletter brought my mom and I closer together because we'd be like, she, just to give you context, she's a big Saints fan. She played fantasy football for a while when I commissioned a home league. And she is the sweetest woman in the world. But when the Saints are on and they're losing, she is throwing the 4-letter words out and her heart rate is up.
Mom.
And she's like,
I love her.
All the superstitions. She's like, oh, I was in the kitchen when they scored, so I got to stay in the kitchen. You know, she's that person. And Joe Bryant's newsletter was like an anchor because we would kind of talk about, did you see what Joe said or who's hurt or this and that? So that was like a huge pivotal moment we just kind of checked in with Joe Bryant emails. It kept us together, you know? And the fantasy footballers, something about them and their wit and their banter, that's like a comfort like podcast for me. I listen with my kid. It's like full circle now. I listen with my little girl to their Spitballers podcast, which has nothing to do with football, but it's still that same vibe and just their voices. And then of course, Matthew Berry. So that's like my trifecta, you know?
Awesome. Cool. Cool. Hey, isn't Joey Wright involved with some of them?
Yeah. Joey Wright. Yeah. Shout out Joey.
Yeah. I love him.
Yep. He is the best. I did meet him in Canton last year.
I got to as well. And his Tiger King picture with me is one of my favorite pictures ever. I love it.
Yeah. Joey's the best. Yep. He ate some of my quesadilla. That's my story. He ate my quesadilla.
You shared.
Beyond the stats and rankings, what does it mean to be a fantasy analyst?
Oh man, I'll be honest. I don't necessarily identify as a fantasy analyst. Like I said, I'm kind of in this weird world where, like at Fantasy Life, for example, we have the Peter Overzets and the Dwayne McFarlands and the Ian Harditts and the Chris Allens that are just so smart and so good at the numbers. And I feel like I can't lump myself into that group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can.
Well, I write and I do and all, but I view them as a different entity because they are just so in tune with just so many pieces and facets that I just feel like my bandwidth can't take in. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't necessarily, I always feel weird about identifying in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I know that you have a YouTube channel called Cooterdoodle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a space for fantasy football and fun collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite to doodle idea or creative endeavors outside of football?
Oh goodness. I haven't really added to that channel in a while. Again, I don't finish things. I went through a phase where I was like playing video games and I'd post little clips from that. Like I said, the petite pods I would do on there and stuff. And sometimes I'd make like little memes from like Kim Kardashian videos or whatever. I'd make something, but it would always come back to fantasy football somehow, you know? That was kind of like the anchor. There would always be something drawing me back to fantasy.
Yep. So I have a question about Mr. Puka Nacua.
Oh, Puka Nacua. Yes. I need to get 3 of his jerseys. That's what I need.
So he was your guy last year. Like you claimed him, right?
Yes. I got him in so many leagues. I blew so much FAAB. And all my friends dogged me because they, at the time, like if you remember the context of when like he started happening, people said it wasn't sustainable. It's not going to happen. Cooper Cup. It won't, whatever. And I was like, I'm all in. I think I put like 89 of $150 in my home league on him on like September 10th or something like that. I remember looking back at it and I just rubbed it in their faces all season long because they held on to their FAAB and they didn't do anything with it. And then like we had one guy who now wants to abolish FAAB in our league because he said like it's stupid. And I'm like, you just didn't spend it correctly. You should have spent it on Puka Nacua. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean?
He would have wanted to keep the FAAB is what he would have wanted then.
Yep. Yep. So yeah.
So who's is the new guy behind you? Is that your shot you're calling or what?
Man, Rashid Shaheed. I even pulled up because I'm like, they might ask me about him. This is like what a Rashid Shaheed game is. He had a game where he had 3 targets where he got 153 yards and a touchdown. That's a Rashid Shaheed game. You don't see him all game long, but when you see him, and he's going to score and he's going to get you something. And as a Saints fan, being in the dome and like you see that breakaway and you see the ball going towards him and you're just like, I know he's going to make this happen. You know what I mean? He's going to make this happen. And that's where this whole lore started because I was in the dome live for a game, might have had a couple beers, and he scored. And so I went on Twitter. I was like, bought a Rashid Shaheed jersey. He scored, and it was the wrong number because on NFL he was 29, and I was just like, purchase, whatever. And so I got the wrong one. So then I'm in the Superdome with customer support saying like, oh my God, can I get this stopped? I don't actually want this. It's the wrong number. But now I have the right one. But yeah,
you have 3.
Yeah. But he's just fun to watch. I just love Rashid Shaheed. I hope he has a big year. I hope he does.
I hope he does.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a PhD in speech pathology. Can you tell us a little more about that? And why you want to do this?
It has nothing to do with fantasy. Nothing, no relation. It was just honestly, when I went to college, I went to like a career day. And I just went to like these different things and they were talking about communication. I thought it sounded interesting. And it's just a field where I'm able, I do a lot of research there. So I'm in the numbers in my real life. But I'm big into literacy. I'm big into language disorders and kids. And I see that you have world language teacher. I'm sure you've got some of that, going on. But yeah, just kids are just so much smarter than we give them credit for, and they can do so much. Even when we think that they're quote unquote, not, up to par with their peers. They're doing so much. And so I find that fascinating. So that's my bread and butter. My kid's like right at that age too, where she's learning to read and write. And so I'm seeing all these invented spellings and it's just, that's so fun to me. So it's not like work, it's fun.
So is that,
child on the autism spectrum. So that's why I'm asking you why you're going into the speech.
Yep. Yeah. My dissertation was I'd followed an individual who was labeled on the autism spectrum for 10 years and looking at all these strategies that she developed because that people missed and viewed it as problematic or as, something less than, but it was like, no, it's actually a strategy. It's actually showing a strength that they develop these behaviors. And so I find all of that so fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. We need to push them into doing something and not just, say they can't do it because every single child can. It's just, you know how to
value what they're accomplishing and where their strengths are. Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely. I agree.
So
with
you had mentioned that
Mm-hmm.
you have a day job. So is that your day job then?
Yeah, kind of. I have my foot in so many different things where I'm working now, but yeah, teaching, we have a clinic that we run, all kinds of different stuff. But yeah, a little bit of research, which I haven't done as much of lately, but yeah, things like that.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's
And
really
I
awesome.
kind of I read another thing on the whatever that was called. I don't want to on the comfort moods
Mm-hmm.
that because I am into music. Okay, like
Mm-hmm.
music is my thing. And there was something, and I want to say it's called On Repeat. Do you remember
Okay.
that
I don't
one?
remember it. I don't know. You have
Okay.
to refresh me.
It's quick. It's quick. It says back in 2016, I watched Alabama Shakes perform at a music festival on a beach. It was a long weekend
Mm-hmm.
spent with my closest friends that I didn't know at the time I would not see very much of ever again. It's funny how life works like that. Why the song's lyrics reek of turmoil and pain. It just reminds me of digging my toes in the sand at a music festival, watching my friends dance around covered in glitter. It's fun how music works like that. Listen to
Mm-hmm.
live music with your friends while you can.
Yep. Yep.
I love that.
Yes.
It's like
Yep.
that's my thing with my daughter. So you have a 5-year-old, I have a 25-year-old.
So y'all are like friends. Y'all can be actual.
No, we are not friends.
You're on levels where, like, you know what I mean? You're equals in some capacity.
It's definitely different. I've always told her I'm not your friend. I'm your mom.
Mm-hmm.
She even put that in my last Mother's Day card. She goes, I know we're not friends, Mom. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing that music can kind of bring you together.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the friends, the rotating friends, I don't have to worry about that because my daughter and I are always going to go to concerts together.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen some of the worst bands you could possibly think of. Okay. But you know what? I'm going to go every fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
If she says, hey, Mom, this show's playing, you want to go? Yep, I do.
Yep.
I don't care who it is. And I can tell you, I've seen
that. I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
And it is like we've seen Fall Out Boy because that's our
group,
okay.
Yeah.
We've met them. I haven't
thought about them in like 10 years, but I used to be obsessed with them.
We love them. I just drove 2.5 hours to Grand Rapids, Michigan last month to see them. But you know what? That's our thing. And whenever they come, we make sure I don't care where it's at, we're gonna go. But awesome. The music thing to me just really resonated when I read that. I'm like, man, listen to live music with your friends when you can. Mm-hmm. So you know what? I think that means we all just need to go to a concert.
I think you're right.
Yeah, in New Orleans. In New Orleans.
Yeah.
Talking about music now, which instrument has the funniest sound in your opinion?
Oh gosh. Oh man. I've always wanted to be able to play music. I'm so jealous of it. Like I have a guitar. I can play like Wonderwall. You know what I mean? I'm that kind of player.
Nice.
But funniest sound. I don't know. I always found it fascinating. There's that, I don't even know the name, that instrument where there's like some electric field and they do
the one that Sheldon does on the on
like they touch the air, it does something, I don't know what that is and I don't know how it works, but
come on, somebody in the chat. Our people in the chat are very smart. Somebody's gonna know the name. They're gonna know.
But yeah, that's always fascinated me. But I just always wished I could play music. I feel like that's such a cool thing. Like
I want to be a drummer.
Oh, a drummer would be cool. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
A girl drummer.
Yeah. But I was always just like the basic, like a couple chords. I could play a song, That was it.
That's awesome.
There, see, my bestie coming through with theremin. Thank you, Bob.
I would be honest, I was so not even knowing of the name that when he said that, I didn't know that related to it.
Oh my gosh, Charlie.
Yeah, I actually did know that that's the name of it, but of course, Bob pulls it off.
Yep, there you go.
Harris. So,
if you could meet anyone in the world today, who would you choose?
Oh goodness.
Don't you dare say Puka Nakua.
I was gonna for the bit. Goodness. I don't know, man. That's such a heavy question. I would probably pick something
historic or someone that,
Yeah. Oh man.
about?
Oh man, I'm gonna be goofy here, and I'm just gonna say Justin Bieber because I had a crush back in the day.
Oh,
I still have a crush on Justin Bieber.
Okay, good. Me too. It's waves. You know what I mean? There's phases.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Carla's like, okay, not what I expected.
And I'm like, heck yeah, because I'm still boy crazy. I can't help it.
Now we have a secret.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep,
there you
the
go.
Justin Bieber crush. It came. Yep. You heard it here on Game Changers first.
Everybody. It happens.
Yep, definitely.
So, are you going? Did you last year? Did you attend a Scott Fishbowl Live?
No, but there's gonna be one in New Orleans this year, and I'm hoping I can go to it. I don't think I'll be drafting in it. I'm gonna be drafting in like an online, but I really want to try to go in person, even though I won't be drafting, just to meet people.
It's so much fun. If you can do it, I highly recommend it. I went to Chicago. I drafted actually last year at Chicago. I met Bethany Peters at that draft. Yeah, she was there. There were 2 women, Amanda, 2 women in that whole thing out of, I think we had 5 or 6 divisions. This year already, I think there's 3 or 4 women in just my division, which is Bethany's in that division as well. But there were like Hoove. Drove down from
Wisconsin. I love Hoove. Yes.
I couldn't believe it. I didn't know he was coming. Yeah. And I'm just like, and I turn around and there he is, like holding his arms open for a hug. And I felt like, it was like, music was playing, kind of like when I met Carla the other day. I was running to her in slow motion, it was like, whoo, so I would want to go. They're drafting in Madison, Wisconsin, and Dustin Lukey's going to be up there. Who's going to be up there? It's going to be so many. I want to go to all the drafts, I know.
I know.
I'm not drafting because it's so much fun,
I know.
But yeah, so hopefully, look at John McGlynn. And I met him as well at the Chicago Live Draft last year.
See, now you're making me think I gotta make it happen. If you
have to
meeting everybody, I gotta try. It's not that far away.
Look, if you're not going to the expo, you have to have some sort of backup plan here. So you need to go to the live.
I know.
Do you know when it is? Do you know when the date is?
Yeah, somebody had DM'd me. They were setting it up. I need to figure out the date and put it in my calendar so I don't do anything else. I'll be like, no kid birthday parties this weekend, This is my weekend.
Is the venue close to where you're at?
It's in New Orleans somewhere, yeah. So it's not too far.
Okay.
But cool. I don't remember where they said it is. But they were setting it up a month or 2 ago.
All right. Well, I expect you to report back.
Yes, I will let you know.
All right. Thank you.
Like I said, I will be back to Canton. I will be, just not this year. I'll be back.
Cooterdoodle, how do you stay informed and keep up with the ever-changing landscape of the NFL?
Great question. I feel like I don't. I feel like I'm so far behind. I don't watch college football. I really, truly, I try to consume what all of you guys are making. You know what I mean? Like I try to listen to podcasts and read articles and keep up to date and see where the hive mind is on different players and everything like that. And that's kind of how I stay in. I consider myself, like earlier when I said I don't consider myself an analyst, at the end of the day, in my heart, I feel like a consumer. Like I feel like I'm a fan of fantasy football. And that's why I find it enjoyable. You know what I mean? Because I still have fun. I still play. I still do it for the enjoyment of it, not for winning and accolades. And when I win, I will brag about it. But it's not just about winning. It's about, for me, at the end of the day, if someone told me you could win every year in a league that you don't care about, or you could stay in your home league and lose, but have fun, I'd choose my home league all day long. You know what I mean? It's not the winning that drew me to fantasy. It was, we're watching the games together. We're texting about the games. We're jabbing at each other because we made stupid decisions. That's what really keeps me into fantasy. It's not the numbers. Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is for me. So, and I know everybody's different, but for me, that's what it is,
That's amazing.
Oh, Tootsie Pop. Tootsie Pop has a good question. Yep,
yeah.
for sure.
Another player I'm excited for this year.
Yeah.
Man,
Come on, who do you got? Who you got?
I really, and it's kind of like against the grain here because I shouldn't be, because it's not a team that I should root for. But I want Kirk Cousins to just crush it. I really do. Like, I want him, and I know the Falcons are supposed to be my enemy, but I want him to do so well. I really do. Like, I love Kirk Cousins, and for him to come to a new place, and people are kind of, the draft was strange. Like, I want him to have a good year. I'm rooting for him.
The Vikings fans turned on him though, man, when he left. Like, it wasn't his fault that, he had to leave. I mean, man, they're really ripping him apart. And so I agree with that. I hope he kicks ass this year.
Yeah. He just seems like he's got like his foot in the family world. Like, he's based and he has his days off where he does his thing, but he's also super tuned in and committed. And so I feel like he's got a good balance, but oh my gosh, Costco is my enemy, Scampers. I met Scampers at Canton, by the way. That was really fun.
I was blown away when I saw Mr. Scampers. I'm just like, I was not expecting that. And Dame Overboard, to stand there and talk to them after, because they come to every show. They stop in at every show here and say hi, and they're so supportive. They're everywhere. How do they do it? Yes, good people.
Yes.
It's like, and I guarantee you later on, I'm going to see Scampers in someone else's when I'm on. They just support everyone. I mean, how lucky are we?
Yep. It's so true.
What advice would you give to someone aspiring to become a successful fantasy football analyst?
I've said this before. I would say, like, whatever it is, it's like, and it sounds so cliche, but what's like truly you, there's been waves, and I'm sure you've seen it, right? Of like, for this season, this is like the way to get engagement. And for this season, this is the way to get engagement. And people try to chase that. And I just feel like the chase is, one, personally exhausting, and two, if that's not who you are, then you're chasing something that you're trying to fulfill in a way that's not really. I feel like, just don't chase. Just be who you are. If you're a numbers person, be a numbers person and lean into it. If you're a memer, be a memer. If you're into writing articles, be a writer. Like, lean into what your strengths are and what makes you happy, because chasing is, in my opinion, even the people that I've seen be successful, when they chase, they're just not happy, So I feel like, don't chase whatever the fad is. Just be whoever you are and lean into that thing and be good at your thing, Yeah.
I know that we talk about trash talk, but I want to explore a little further on that. It's only because, like, trash talk is an art form, and you're a master.
I hope so. I try.
So what's a witty comeback you can have, or you can teach people, when they want to have a trash talk moment?
Oh man, the best way to start it is to kind of pick fun at yourself. That's the safest way to do it. Like, if you don't feel comfy, you can always pick fun at yourself. You know what I mean? Like, man, that, and there's like the reoccurring patterns of certain players. Like, if somebody's just losing all the time, or they're aggressive in trading and it always just flops on them, or they're spending all their FAAB and it's wasted, or they don't spend it at all. Like, just kind of finding what people's niches are and poking fun at that, Yeah. But it's always fun when you're at the bottom, because you can just punch up. That's the safest way to do it. Safest way to go.
Well, an hour surely flies. We know that you have obligations, which we totally understand. Look at that. Scampers loved me.
Yes, it was so much fun.
Yes. But before we go, we got a couple things here, but just in case people don't know where to find you, can you let them know?
Yep. You can find me at cooterdoodle on Twitter. You can check out Comfort Moods in my bio. That is apparently there. Make sure you follow MB Fantasy Life on Twitter. Subscribe to their newsletter, Fantasy Life newsletter. I think that's it. Like I said, I'm bad at promoting. I don't know. I think that's it.
Well, I think you did a fine job. Okay, you did just
you.
fine. Thank you so much for coming on.
This wait, and pour your milk first. Pour your milk first.
Oh, yeah. Look, you've already got people saying that that's what they're going to do.
Try it out.
Try it out. A game, Amanda, game changer.
That's what I'm saying.
Game changer. That's why you're here.
Look, if you leave here with anything, I hope it's not football knowledge. I want you to start with Shart on Wordle, and I want you to pour your milk first. That's all that matters, really.
Awesome. Thank you. So thank you to everybody in the chat. We've had such a great time tonight. Thank you to JC for taking care of us, running our show here. Everybody at the Sports Affiliation, all of our friends in the chat. Make sure you come back next week, you guys. This is going to be her first time on a podcast, and you're not going to believe it because she's a rock star. I couldn't believe when she told me that. I'm like, you've never been on a podcast? But Brittany Foxworth, she is kick ass. So you guys make sure that you come back next week. And don't forget about our vacation. You guys got to make sure you come back because you're going to be missing us for the next month after that. So, oh no, Joey, what are we going to do with him? But thank you, everyone. So much wasted milk. Do you drink the milk afterwards? That's so gross.
It's like, what? No, that's the best. It's like sugar milk. Sugar milk.
All right, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Everyone be safe. Love you. Bye.
Guys, bye.